get started, I'd just like to do an acknowledgement of country. We pay our respects to country and recognise the custodianship and care of the individual lands in which we travel through and work across today.
So can anyone tell me what country we're on today?
Wanneroo?
Wanneroo?
Yeah.
Yep, excellent. I live and work mainly in Worimi country and Awabakal.
Wonderful. The Business Centre is a community invested organisation that has been representing the needs of entrepreneurs, businesses and governments for more than 36 years. We're all about creating sustainable economies and resilient communities. So my name's Lisa Harpley. I'm a business advisor and mentor with the Business Centre. I specialise in digital marketing and social media management. And this is Brooke. Do you want to do your spiel?
Hello, everyone. I'm business advisor, trainer and mentor. So my story is I was made a director of a commercial and industrial landscaping business when I was 19. And that really taught me a lot about the principles of business. And from there, I was introduced to the world of hospitality and tourism, which was, completely mind-blowing from my previous roles. I went from this really male-dominated working world to this really female-dominated working world. But apart from that, the principles of business were exactly the same. From there, I started in the business advisory space at the Business Centre. I was attracted to it because I was really doing a lot of work at the time on purpose, which is a word that's most commonly used today. But I wanted to work for a not-for-profit, and I wanted the opportunity to give back to people that I was lucky enough to receive mentoring from in my own time. So I've been at the Business Centre now for 12 years in lots of different roles, but what I love is just passing on any information to small business owners that we can. Small business owners have so much going on in their lives and in their heads 99% of the time. So however we can help and support, it could either be from starting a new idea, scaling, growing a business, or even exiting a business. We can help all stages, including innovation.
Wonderful. So just a little bit of housekeeping. This is an interactive situation. So if you've got a question, please put your hand up. We'll answer the best that we can. If it's something that we're going to cover off later on, we'll let you know. If in the event that there's a fire or something tragic like that's happening, please walk orderly out the front to the grass area out there. Don't run like this man. That looks alarming.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Alrighty, so enough about us. We'd love, yes?
Very simple question. Could you possibly move that monitor towards you about half a metre? That monitor, because on the wall, these folk are going to be looking at the back of each one's head.
Okay, we're actually filming today, so I'll defer to Jono from Fordtronics. I don't want to mess with his system, but guys, if you ever need any sort of help in this regard, Fordtronics, incredible. They travel with us around the countryside, filming all of what we do to get that information further afield to businesses across whole of New South Wales. In the meantime, let's get to know you.
So, I'd love to go around the room. If you are able to introduce yourself, your name, your business, and probably let's do the last cyber security risk that you've come across. And we probably come across them almost every day. So we'll go around the room, and if everyone could do that, that would be amazing. We'll just start off over here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
On a personal note, I had a bit of a slight teenager win. My daughter had a birthday recently and her auntie called me and said, did she receive the gift certificate I sent her? I sent it to her school email. So, I don't know. She goes, it was weird because she didn't call me to thank me. I was like, okay, let me sort it out. I asked her, I said, did you get a Mecca gift certificate in your school email? She's like, I got an email from Mecca, but I thought, why is Mecca emailing me at school? I thought it was a scam. I'm like, oh my God, she does listen. It's not a scam, it's a gift certificate, and I will look after that for you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's great to get to know you all. Appreciate the time.
Wonderful. Cyber security, in a nutshell, is the protection of computer systems connected to the internet. There is a group from Australian Federal Government's Signal Directorate named Australian Cyber Security Centre, or the ACSC if we need another acronym. But they have been helpful, but they have helpful information on their site for small businesses, even minor cyber incidents that can be far-reaching impacts for business. The cyber threat landscape is constantly changing, and unfortunately no business or individual is completely immune to cyber threats. The past 3 years in particular have brought dramatic changes to the way we work, live and live our lives. Australia has seen huge growth in remote working and digital services, but equally there has been escalation in cybercrime. So we're just... Excellent. So small and medium businesses are increasingly targeted by cyber criminals, and the most recent annual cyber threat report by the Australian Cyber Security Centre recorded a staggering 76,000 reported cyber crimes. And so that's a huge number, right? Representing a 13% increase from the previous financial year. There has also been a 17% increase in the average of the cost per cybercrime for Australian businesses, and on average, cybercrime is now reported every 7 minutes. And so I guess when you're taking into consideration around what that cost is, that's a cost of your time as well, and staff and...
Even reputational damage,
Yeah.
if you need a marketing rejig, you need to engage a PR firm. It depends on how bad the situation goes. But what is it? $36,000 is the average cost of a cyber incident to a small business. That's a lot.
A lot of money. Over the past year, Australians have also experienced some of the most significant cyber attacks in our nation's history. So the Optus, Medibank, Latitude Financial, cyber security incident. You'd think I could say it by now. No. Along with the ACSC's annual cyber threat report statistics show that there is more important than ever to implement good cybersecurity practices. They will protect sensitive customer and business information, prevent cybercrime, safeguard critical infrastructure and ensure business continuity. An example of tourism-based cyber breach is the Denny Ute Muster. So they were blocked by Meta for using and accessing their Facebook event page, leading up to their big annual 2-day event and festival. Having been accused by Meta for violating community guidelines, so very similar to what we heard here, for which of course they hadn't. They have been hacked, and as a result, it caused an 8-week hiatus from their usual business of selling tickets and marketing the festival, resulting in serious financial and marketing impacts, estimated at about $300,000 in ticket sales and an unmeasurable amount of loss in reach. Previous year.
Last year.
Yeah.
But something like that event that they hold once a year still? Yeah. To have that much of a loss from an event that they would rely on for their cash flow 100%, it's really quite the kick in the teeth. And for it to be not something that they've clicked on, it's not something that they've done wrong, so to speak. It was saying that Meta just deemed it not correct, not appropriate for the guidelines. And the amount of time it takes to go back to Meta and say, what do you mean? Tell me what's wrong about it. How can I rectify this? It's all time and money. It's crazy.
Crazy times.
Well, we'll get stuck into what we consider some basic 101 content today. So we'll go through 3 main threats to start with. So there's the scam messages that we all mentioned, the email attacks, and the malicious software. So starting with the scam messages, obviously the goal is to scam you in some way. So they often represent as someone that you trust. So it could be a family member, a friend, someone you work with, or an organisation you do a lot of business with. And for these types of scam messages, it's all around sending money or gifts. That's what they're trying to get from you. So this usually looks like clicking on a link, opening an attachment. That's usually how scam messages work. And they quite often will ask for passwords. So we're going to go through password managers a little bit later, some ways that you can mitigate this risk. But it's all around, phishing attacks as well that we've all heard about now. This is something that's common vernacular. But that's the main particular concern to small to medium enterprises, to small businesses. because quite often small businesses don't have the financial resources or the infrastructure to protect themselves from cyber attacks, that's why they're being targeted. That's why I was so excited to see you in the room today, someone that supports small businesses in this way. So they take over social accounts, hold the social accounts to ransom. Think of how many years you've been building your social profile online. Think of how many connections you've got and how you rely on that platform for business. It could be just to solidify your brand. It could be to actually convert customers. But you've put a lot of time and effort into that. So social media is something you definitely need to keep close to you. And just one note, don't pay a ransom. Go and see someone like this. Don't ever pay a ransom. Yep. So there's a case study that's on the ACSC website, and the cyber.gov site is really good. You can go on there and learn so much about that. Also, ScamWatch is something, if you hear of a scam that relates to your business, jump on there and report it. If that means that one other person doesn't get done by it, that's a beautiful thing. Yep. But I have a subscription basically to ScamWatch, so I get sent all of the current scams that are going around, and it's really interesting. As an organisation, we're around, so the Business Centre has about 20 employees. Each week we have a team meeting and we talk about what scams have come across our desks, and that's how we stay up to date as a group of business advisors and share information back to our customers about what's happening out there. So again, guys, from today, really hear that the education and slowing down and being aware of what you're doing in a moment, that's where the best mitigation really does lay. So there was an example of a scam that the ACSC give, and that was an employee was asked by email by the CEO to purchase 6 $500 Visa credit card. And he just said, keep it quiet in the email, keep it quiet. These are gift certificates for team members that have been doing really well. So what I want you to do is photocopy the front and the back of the card, email that back through to me, and just keep those certificates and we'll give them out later. So off she went. She went to the post office. She purchased from her own personal account the 6 $500, like not many employees that have that in a bank account, but 6 $500 vouchers. She took the receipt back. She did the front and back of each Visa card. She sent that back through as a return email to the email sent to her. And that was that. The CEO had never asked that. It was just a very slight change in the CEO's email address that she didn't see, and she just went and did the job that she was asked to do. So that was something where small businesses are learning pretty hard lessons. And to get this money back is near to impossible, obviously. Sometimes you can get money back, but yeah, others it's quite tricky. So again, the CEO's frustrated. What do you mean? And she's like, well, now this is how much money I'm personally out of pocket. What are we going to do about that? So this also highlights the policies in your organisation that surround this topic as well. How many of you have active policies and procedures manuals? I know that's ridiculous for me to ask, but it's not surprising. Yeah. Guys, it's just something that I'd really love you to think about. Maybe there's a quiet time of the year. Have a look at an operations policy procedures manual for your business. It basically gives your business a little bit of risk mitigation there in case something happens to you or other team members. But it makes you think about ways that you can protect your business. So an example is, what would you do in that circumstance? What's the organisation's policy? Would you reimburse that staff member? These are all things you can start to build up in your policies. We'll talk a little bit more about those later. I feel like I've got too many gadgets.
Do you want me to do that?
No, it's okay. Otherwise I get too gesticulate. So the email attacks is the next one. Again, something we're all very familiar with. Often this is, again, impersonating team members or partners. The domain in the email looks like very, very close to the one that your CEO or teammate would actually have. About 5 years ago, I got one from our then CEO, Pierre, and it was saying that he and his partner were in hospital. They needed cash. He couldn't leave the hospital to get the cash. could I transfer the money to his account? And I'm like, that's not very logical because that's not cash. Like, what are you asking for? But it sounded like him, to the point where I sent a text going, are you okay? Like, what's going on? What's happening? And that went to another team member as well, who was ready to send the money that they asked for. So again, it's slowing down, looking at each thing. Is this out of character? Talk to the person that's actually sent you this information. Take that time to talk to them. This looks a bit weird, just checking it's actually you. And whatever you do, don't reply to whatever they've sent you, particularly in the world of emails. Pick up the phone, call them. So again, the best defence around this type of email attack, because the goal there is to steal information, to get money, to get passwords, all the usual trickery, is to train your team. So whatever you do, don't respond to any payment requests. Don't respond to any change of bank details. This is a big one. So an example that we can share is a small construction company had, sorry,
Step back into the light.
well, you've got to watch me. I'll be like in there soon. just holler. So this small construction company actually found themselves receiving an email from one of their key suppliers that they work with all the time. And that was, guys, we've changed our bank account details. The latest invoice that you sent is here. It was $70,000. Here's our new bank account details. Please update that in your system and pay the latest invoice, which they did. They didn't bother because, who's got the time, to ring up that key supplier and say, hey, is this you? Have you changed your bank details? And it was a scam. And of course, they never saw that money again. So it's all of these things that just happen very quickly to get you there. So again, always ring, don't reply email, and report these scams on ScamWatch. So now we'll go to malicious software, or malware as it's often called. So this is designed to cause harm. It's designed to cost you money in terms of shutting your operation down. It's also going to give a lot of reputational risk to your organisation. It's very, very hard to recover from that sort of reputational hit when you're in customer-facing business. It's all around service and experience. It's just very difficult in this digital age to recover from that. So we've all heard of ransomware, I take it? Yep. So, and viruses and spyware and Trojans. I got a Trojan sent to me yesterday, and Bitdefender, my antivirus, picked it up, sent me a message, this is quarantine, just so you know, this came through. And that was from something, I traced it back to Amazon. So, shoes again. But just so you know, antivirus software, you may think, oh, it doesn't really do anything. Isn't that something we used to have like back in the early 2000s? This is really important for this sort of attack. And people with Macs often say to us in business, oh, I've got a Mac. My computer's so much more secure than Windows-based. No, that, maybe 20 years ago, but no longer is that the case. You can get antivirus software particularly for Macs or particularly for your operating system that you use in your business and daily life. But again, one of the 5 things that we hope you leave here with today is antivirus software matters. Make sure it's just running in the background. You don't have to have bossy ones. I mean, I call Norton bossy, because I feel like they always want real estate on my screen and to tell me what it's doing, and they're really good in terms of a product. But why I chose Bitdefender is it sits in the background. I don't need extra distraction, I just don't. So that was, for me, part of the reason why I chose the solution I did, because it just ticks away in the background, and I know my business is safe in that regard. So quite often, malware will steal or lock files. And a lot of people say, oh, I do backups in my business. I'm not that worried about it. But what they do is, if they back up to the cloud, that's great. A lot of people also back up to a hard drive of some description. Unplug that hard drive. because if your computer gets infected with malware, that will lock up that backup hard drive as well. It's something so simple. But quite often, I know years ago, I used to leave a hard drive plugged into my computer for those updates to just happen. And now it's not at all. You've got to make sure it's unplugged and locked away. You've got to have a system around using that. So these are really simple solutions that we know we need to do, but they're just an extra step in an already busy day. And today, that's what I really hope you hear, is that we have to make the time to do these things to protect our businesses. It could cause huge risk into the future if we don't. Sorry, don't mean to be fear-mongering, just real. So, malware can steal or lock files on a device. It can steal bank account details and credit card details. It can also steal usernames and passwords. So if you think about people in larger organisations, like we've got people here in an organisation, there's a group. If someone took one person's details and went in and did a whole lot of activity, this could be on their website, this could be in invoicing, banking, anything. At least you can go, okay, well, I can trace it back to that one person, but you wouldn't see a flag go up if you saw a team member's activity in these online platforms doing something. So yeah, just be super aware of it. Take control of and spy on your computer. That's something else that can happen. I've had that happen to me because I do a lot of remote work because I've got an agri-tourism farm in Girvan, which is near Stroud. And it was before I got the camera blockers, and it would just pop on. And I'd be like, what? What's happening here? Who's watching me? Who's looking at me? So again, another really simple tip, guys, is make sure your camera is covered if you are not actively in an online meeting. Make sure it's covered. Again, simple little tip. So as we know, ransomware locks up and encrypts those files. There was an auto parts store that went into work that day, opened up the office, did the lights, all the usual things, turned their computer on to work, nothing. They contacted their IT team and said, we can't turn our computers on, like help, we really need this to work. And they said, there's a message that popped up on the screen saying, please pay 61 million Bitcoin and you'll get your files back. And these are stories we hear about all the time. First thing to do is to reach out for that IT provider support. Never pay a ransom, even if you are okay in the world of Bitcoin. So they said, we've got backups. The backup was still plugged in, so that couldn't work either. They had no cloud backup. They lost all of their client history, all of the payment history, everything that was on that computer, they lost. And even though you think, oh, well, that's okay, you can just keep operating, it's the time it takes to manage that, which ends up being that $36,000 bill. Is there any questions, or do we need to talk about something light-hearted for a minute? No, we're still sticking with it? That's great. So what to do if it happens to you? Record the important details. Take a screen capture of anything that pops up on your screen. Make sure you take a photo of anything weird. Just try and get proof, evidence of what's gone wrong. Turn off the infected device. Like turn it off. Turn off anything that is also in that network. So for me, it would be turning off my laptop, my phone. There's an iPad as well that's on that same network, and it could even be my partner's computer as well. So just shut it all down, turn it all off. Disconnect any other devices, and then change any important passwords. But the main thing I would do if I were you guys is reach out to an expert in this space that can actually walk with you, alongside you, to try and recover from it easily, painlessly. A lot of small business owners that we work with don't have a budget for an IT specialist, but have an identified key partner that you know you can go to in time of need. So again, another actionable item from today is talk to people, find out an IT provider that you would go to in a time of need, because you've got no computer to Google. Your computer is gone, your phone is gone. So make sure you keep that information somewhere on hand. recovering that information may or may not help, or may not work, I should say. And again, it depends on your backups, your cloud backups, your devices, and who you go to for help. You then remove the ransomware from affected devices. Again, a lot of people go to a third party for help doing that because they don't feel like they know enough about that space. I think I'd give it a really good crack to try and remove it, just out of sheer curiosity to see if I could. And then I'd go to my IT provider to say, did I do it? What would I need to do next time? Restore your information and notify and report. So again, guys, please share stories about this with other business owners. People do have some sort of shame around it. It just doesn't need to be there. It's well worth talking about and reporting on ScamWatch. Any questions so far? I've made you all very quiet. This is scary. Yes?
One quick question. You acknowledged the word other devices like tablet or iPhone. They're on the network you were dealing with. You also commented about turning off cameras, not using them from,
Yep.
if you're not using them in a conference meeting, for example. But you can't turn these things off, or someone else can turn them on.
You can get slide covers.
I have a couple of
Oh. Yeah? Sorry, did you want to add that?
I thought it was going to talk more about some of the Internet of Things and the network as well.
Yeah.
We actually wouldn't advise you guys to turn things off necessarily.
You want it to stay open?
Let you unplug things from the network as such. Just get that lateral movement across your network.
Can you share why? Because this is coming straight from
We
ACSC.
actually need to get in and actually understand what's actually the memory, what programs could be running in the background, potential spyware. If you
Yeah.
boot or computer and shut it down,
You got no way of saying that.
do that stuff out, which may have only been just there for that
Split, yeah.
or it may sit dormant again until it comes back again at another time. So by actually separating it from the network and things like that would allow us to potentially come in and actually have a look at that.
So doing,
Rather than just switching it off.
no, it's great. Yeah, it's,
That's with old school, to be honest. It's that
Yeah, that's
turn
good.
it all off, but
yep,
honestly, if you've got someone moving your mouse or keyboard or something, you can see it there and then by disconnecting them from a connection of internet, that's Wi-Fi, internet, or your 4G connection or whatever. You just need to make sure.
so cut the internet off.
That from actually happening, and then just leave that there until somebody can come in and have a look at it in a controlled way.
Thank you.
That's
Excellent.
right.
No, that's great.
Yeah, you're quite right about the mobile device and things like that on the network. Can you pull over that with mobile on that network? Is that what you were asking about? Like, is it
Cameras.
Wi-Fi or wireless connection?
Well, I'm just wondering whether it's a standalone device that receives and sends emails. It has a camera, and the camera can be turned on and off by other people.
Yes.
Apparently. I have the cover on my phone. I leave it face down so that the camera can't be activated without me. If someone activates the camera without me knowing,
Yep,
it doesn't make any difference.
yep.
Yeah.
Can't see. Depends on your microphone settings if they can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, as well. Yeah, and talking about teenagers and any other family members, make sure you talk to them about the privacy settings around your cameras and your microphones. It's really important, really important. But let's keep going. Thank you. That's great, that's great. So tips to mitigate this risk. We can get stuck into this. So again, a simple one for Facebook is to make sure you go into the account security setting on Facebook, do a privacy check under the Act settings, and always have 2 admins on any social media accounts. This is important.
What do you mean by that?
So just say I will have a Facebook page for our farm. I've got to make sure that not only my profile is an admin, I would need someone else to have admin access to that profile, not just me. So if something happened to my, Lisa, you
Yep.
could jump here.
If something happened to Brooke's account and her account was compromised, then somebody else would then have access to her social media pages.
To make
As a
any
backup.
changes, updates, notifications, action. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Okay, So we'll start getting into each one of these. Who uses multi-factor authentication or 2FA already? Yep.
Great.
This is good to see.
Yeah.
And how many people use accounting software like Xero, for example? Now it's mandatory for. Multi-factor on banking details is pretty common these days. What about your general email account? Nice. It's good to see some there. So multi-factor can be put against all of the different software systems you use, or most of them should be set up that way. So have a look. Again, do an audit. What in my business does not have multi-factor? What are other team members using? Take that time to have a look at it.
Could you describe what you mean by having multi-factor authentication for email?
Just when you log into your account, depending on how your account's set up.
It's always logged in.
Is it?
It's a Mac.
It is, but have you got antivirus software that you use there too? Yep. So what I'll do, depending on which work account I'm always stay logged out, and I'll log into whatever, if I'm doing business centre work or my own business work, and I set up multi-factor, so it pings to my phone and says, is this you? I say, yes. So I make myself go through that process to have that security, because my business centre, where I work, sees any other businesses that I have as a risk to their business. Does that make sense? So I've got to make sure across any business activity and life activity that I'm doing best practice in the land of cybersecurity to protect. But I would definitely log out of any accounts that you're not using, or close them down, quit them. In the Mac world, make sure you quit. Right click, quit. Yep. Yes, I can send out something. Yep, absolutely, I agree. Yeah, they're really good marketers. So we do individual seminars on how to pick a antivirus software, how to pick a password manager. But I'm happy to talk to you guys about that and send some information through after today if you'd like. So next week I can send through a quick checklist of what to look for in a really good antivirus, because it's different for each person. There's so much. Yeah, it's such a big, it's like a world of rabbit holes. You have to go down each one. So that's why we talk about basic cybersecurity, and then we have spin-off seminars about each one of these little topics as well. You absolutely are, absolutely. But we want to be able to give you thorough information and not just say, hey, well, I know Bitdefender's great, Norton's great, blah, blah. We want to be able to give you the information why. And it's about what you need to look for when choosing something for yourself. Individual business needs. How many people here use passwords? Yep. How many people use passphrases? Yep. So what we mean, a password is pretty stock standard. You know, it can be a bunch of letters, it can make sense, it can not, it can have different symbols. But passphrases are, I am looking at my computer, or it's a long sentence, and quite often there'd be numbers in that as well. It's getting more complicated. Yes, it takes longer to type in, but passphrases create a lot more security around this space than just a general password. Are you aware of all of the logins and passwords to all of the software items that your business has, even if you don't use them? Yeah. So password managers, which we'll get to, really help with that in a big way. But as well as passwords and passphrases, there's passkeys. And these are biometrics. So it could be a fingerprint, it could be face recognition. So it's more that biometric side of things. How many people have activated that on their phones? Yep. That's great. That's great. At the moment, they're saying that that's some of the most strongest, password or passphrase items. Yep. So the next side of things that we want to talk to you about is a password manager. Does anyone have one here? Does anyone use? Excellent. Can I ask which ones you use?
I can't remember the password.
And that's what they say about this, about password managers. You only have to remember one password. But if you don't remember that one, you can definitely get a bit stuck. But password managers are a wonderful thing. I use Dashlane personally and have done for many years. What are the other options that people use? There's one password.
Norton has a password manager in it.
Yep.
That we use.
Yep.
But I know it's done perfect. I think you got that now.
Yeah, it is. But do some research. And again, I'll send around an info sheet for you guys about what to look for in a password manager, because it's more than just your business type. It's, do you want to incorporate family sharing into that? Most small business owners need that because their business and their home life is so intertwined. So there's so many different things that you could look for. The reason why I personally chose Dashlane is because it is the password generator. It definitely remembers them all for me. I always have it open on my browser. It also has functionality for the paid subscription to see if my name or details are being used on the dark web. I want to know that. So it will tell me if that information comes up for me. But the best thing is that my partner, who is really not great at remembering things like passwords for our business, we have that shared password manager account. So there's access across everything. It's not just up to me to remember and activate things and action things because I'm the only one that can get in. You know, everyone that has access to this family sharing password manager can do the work at any given time. So password managers are a great solution to not only remember all of your passwords, but to also create really, unhackable passwords in systems you use. It was interesting, when I first implemented the password manager, it took me literally half a day to go in and change every password that I ever had to anything, so it was updated to a brand new one. And alarmingly, before it did that for me, it was saying, this password's being used 27 times. Risk, high. This password is only slightly different to this one. Risk, high. And I was just like, oh. So it's a process to go through, but worthwhile using. And again, we'll send through some information after today on what to look for in a good password manager. Yeah. Has anyone used a password manager they're really happy with? Yes.
Just on that point, for those who are not quite sure how to generate passwords, if they wanted to get passwords that are not too hard to type but still very complex.
Yep.
There's a website called Dino or dinopass.com. You look that up.
Is that D-I-N-O? Yep.
Look that up. It looks like it's a kid's website, but it actually is a very Google let our clients know. And it will encourage you to start using passphrases.
Yeah.
So that it's joining 2 or 3 words together and make it complex. And,
Yeah.
I mean, the password generators are awesome on those password managers, but they are so hard to type or on your phone or something if you're going from one device to another. Now, I think about the last bit that password managers is if you're going to use one, try and get one that can use it across multiple devices.
Absolutely.
Not just your computer.
Yep.
Where the Norton security may only work on that
Yes.
system, which may be what you want for a business, and put that correctly, if it's just
Yeah.
maintain passwords, but you want to keep it with you as you're traveling.
Absolutely.
You need to have one that works work on multiple devices.
Yes. Yeah.
One password that rules them all, which is that really long one that
The complicated one?
forget, but it's definitely got to be nothing like we get in use.
Exactly. Yeah, that's good. So our password manager goes across multiple computers, multiple mobile devices, including tablets as well. And again, because it's set up to be on the browser, it's set up in that system. The first thing we do when we turn anything on is open a VPN and open up our password manager. We'll get to those bits later. Okay, it can also do other things. I don't know if you're interested in this. You can also have personal medical information that's stored in it. They consider it to be a vault. So any information that you find you need a digital copy of on a regular basis, but are worried about saving it just in your photos or something like that, password managers are great for that too.
You just mentioned VPN. How does that come into play?
So a VPN is separate to that. That's just my routine. So a VPN is a virtual private network. And that basically means your IP address online becomes anonymous. It basically bounces it around the world. So you're harder to find and harder to target and harder to track. So for me, I have that always turned on just for privacy and security. I was just always told, have your VPN on, and that makes you more anonymous online, particularly if I'm doing things. We use a lot of different software that is state and federal government based, and we're encouraged to do that. Like for the business centre work we do, we have to have a VPN on to access our files in our business. So it's like a mandatory security measure, I'd say. It can be painful, can't it?
It is. I have to make the joke that I have to start work 10 to 15 minutes earlier just to do all my logins and two-factor authentication.
Exactly.
And then one phone's beeping with a number and then it's all happening. So
Yeah. It's just very much accepting that that's the world we now live in. Yes. No, it'd be fun because obviously, like I want to learn where you're coming from with that. I want to go down the road of remarketing. I want to go down the road of that anonymity side of things in that targeting space. Yeah.
It depends where you get the VPN from, because
Yeah.
some of those are actually tunneled into their system.
Totally. Yeah.
And then once you've got that tunnel open, they can
Yeah.
put all the malware that you like and use it to
Yeah.
protect it, and they're actually
And you're not, because it's a dodgy product. Yeah.
bought the dodgy VPN.
Yeah, yeah. So 3 VPNs that are pretty reputable and often used by businesses and families again. The one that we use for work is FortiGate,
Yep.
I believe. Also, my Bitdefender antivirus software actually comes with a VPN, so I'm confident in using that one as well. So when you're looking for solutions in your business, do keep an eye out for the fact that if you find one good reputable one, like in my opinion, just solely my opinion, I'm really happy with what Bitdefender did. Using their VPN, it's just one less thing to operate and open and manage. Yeah, so you can often bundle those services. So, reminders of what to look for. I think we were still on password managers. Reminders of what to look for. Security, strong encryption, compatibility with your hardware and software, ease of use, additional features. So keep your eye out for what additional features there are in terms of, like I was mentioning, if you've got medical documents or personal documents you need to access at considerable times, it can keep that. And just value for money. A lot of these tech solutions we're seeing are quite varying in cost. And it's just another subscription to add to your business's bottom line, which is tricky. So you need to make sure you make that right decision. Okay, software updates, backups, and security software. When you get a software update, do you actually do the update? Or do you just sort of go, I'll do that later? Make sure you do that update straight away when you're notified that it's available. It seems like a really simple thing, but quite often software updates that we're receiving are for security reasons. So make sure that's a simple thing you can just do straight away. Do that software update from the reputable product that you obviously use and have purchased. Do your backups. Now, there's a lot of schools of thought around cloud-based and hard drive-based, but make sure you, if you've got a hard drive, make sure it's unplugged from your computer and stored, and you know it's on a system. There's some sort of regular system at how often you can do that update. So for me, I do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's just me, because any other time I just wouldn't do it. But I know that's part of my role to do. Security software, we've talked about antivirus software. Does anyone here use it currently, actively? And if so, what sort do you use? Kiama. Sorry? We use it, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, so it's something that just runs in the background? Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out more about what's used. Yeah. Okay, now if you are going to sell devices, like phones, or just hand them on, which we tend to do in our family, we hand on phones as other phones get upgraded, make sure you reset those to factory settings. Make sure you completely wipe those phones before you hand them on. You know, I'd hate for our 9-year-old to have accidental access to any of my accounts where I may have been shopping on or something like that. So just make sure you reset factory settings and have an awareness of cyber culture in your family and your place of work. As you can hear already, these things change rapidly. Stay connected either to an IT professional or the ACSC or cyber.gov website, and stay up to date with how quickly things are evolving and changing. I know it's one more email for you to read, but it's worthwhile doing so. Also, limit access. We have, again, the group that has many people in the group in the room. Do you all have the same access to the same software at the same hierarchical level? No? Everyone's got a different... Yep?
Well,
That's good.
financial systems are largely the exception, but all of the social side, we would all have access, which is where, when that happened, we were all compromised.
Yeah, yep. So when you do have a large team, if anyone does run a large team, what I would do is make sure you look at the access and limit access to every employee. It's not because you don't trust them, it's just because you are mitigating risk of people accessing their profiles and what they can see or do in your business. So the easiest way to consider data that you collect is don't collect more data than you need. A lot of people tend to collect a lot of data because they want to be able to market back to or manage a relationship with a client and access this data and information, be able to wish them a happy birthday, happy anniversary, whatever it is. So do you actually need all of the data that you collect in your business? I know we've gone through at our organisation something called Right Fit for Risk. And that's a massive overhaul of our organisation. So we can continue as a small business to work with government departments, New South Wales state and federal, local, state and federal governments. This cost us $30,000 to implement and change in our small business. This has caused us endless headaches, right? It's just this massive weight and audit burden that's been put on us as a small business. But for us to go through that process not only taught us a lot in this space, but it also means that we can continue to do business with our key partners and keep supporting businesses in the way that we do. So just keep in mind, guys, different things are coming up in terms of regulation legislation that may start to impact you. How much do you guys know about the NDIS space, the National Disability Incentive Scheme? So this industry went through massive change. I think it was 2013 from memory. And what that meant is that these small and micro business owners had to go through an audit that cost a lot of money, thousands of dollars, in paying out costs to auditors, as well as the time out of working in their business. It killed so many small businesses just because this weight was put on them. So in terms of cybersecurity, just do all of the simple things we've talked about today. Try and find someone close to you that is that IT provider that you can lean on, but know that there are coming changes in the way that businesses work and operate, that are, it's going to become more and more obvious that we need to look after cybersecurity. Okay, so having a look at data collection. So obviously everyone knows you've got to protect all customer data at all costs. Data privacy is the term that's used for how we control how data is actually collected and shared and issued. Data security is protecting data from external attackers and malicious insiders as well. How many people are aware of their responsibilities under the Privacy Act of 1988? Yeah? You That's awesome. So many people.
That's why I can't remember my password.
It's all this information about the damn Privacy Act. Yeah, for sure. Well, just so you know, the Privacy Act of 1988 is a federal policy, and business owners have to protect personal information from theft, misuse, interference, loss, unauthorised access, modification, and disclosure. And you have to comply with this act if your annual turnover, so not profit but turnover, is 3 million or more. So if your turnover is 3 million or more, you are meant to be adhering to the Privacy Act of 1988's policies around data collection. Now it goes into more nuanced versions of the businesses that have to adhere to that policy. And for example, therapists, gyms, wellness centres, childcare, there's a giant list of different industry types that have to adhere to that, obviously NDIS being one of those. So does anyone here have an element of their business that would be in that wellness space, in that therapist space? A lot of tourism businesses do have those areas
Excuse me.
implemented in now as well. So just be aware, as your business model grows and evolves, make sure you're looking at the different rules and regulations you have to follow when you're branching out into those different areas. Yeah. If you wanted to, we can do a one-on-one catch-up, have a look at what that membership information is and trace that back and see what those regulations are, and also is there another way of collecting data that doesn't sort of get your business into trouble. There may be a different way of doing so. That's okay, that's fine. So again, really ask yourself, what data does your business need to collect? When you're signing someone up, booking accommodation, booking a tour, booking any sort of product or service, anything at all, what are you asking for? Do you need it? And why? We urge you to not collect a whole bunch of data that you've then just got to protect, manage, store, or get rid of after that service has been delivered. Does anyone here think that they may collect too much data on their clients? Putting themselves at risk in any way? It's interesting. It's interesting. There was definitely a point in time when we did. We collected a lot of information about business type, business stage, you know, really getting into the nitty-gritty of things, and we thought, that's too much risk. And as part of our Right Fit for Risk now accreditation that we've received as an organisation, we don't do that. There's a lot of information we used to collect and store that we do not anymore. And it hasn't affected our business operations at all, which is good.
I feel like as a consumer, I give too much information out.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're filling out all those forms, like, what do you need to know this for?
Yeah, what are you going to do with it?
Unless it's highlighted as necessary for me to continue,
Yeah.
I don't fill it out.
And we're not going to get, yeah. We've written that down so I can do that research into that exact product. But if there's other software that you're curious about that you want us to do a little bit of research into, just let us know today, let any of our team know. We'll be sending it out to everyone, not just the people that have requested it. So just to share that data and information. But it's too serious a topic to guesstimate. We'll find out from each software type. Yep. Okay. So what are the steps that you would consider taking from today? There's a lot of basic information we've shared that we can build on into the future. We could have talked about any single one of these topics for hours. You know, there's a lot of depth and a lot of nuance to this information, but raising awareness of it is what we really wanted to achieve today. So are there any particular things that you would take and implement or look into after today's chat? Any takers that would look, yep.
Find the right local technical computer.
Absolutely. And write it down on a piece of paper. Don't store it electronically. Stick it on your fridge.
No, I'm talking about the support group.
Yeah,
Behind this.
definitely. And ask them about their experiences with Meta. Ask them about particular things and find out. What are the main things you get asked when people are deciding if they will opt with your services or not? Yeah. It's interesting to talk to other business owners about what they're using and why they made those choices. And I think that's where the world of a generalist business advisor, like what we do, and we're agnostic to any products and services in specific, but we'll be sharing what feedback we've been given, what we've seen, what research we've done, and also from governing bodies. That's where we get our information from, like what we've delivered today. It's all from cyber.gov. So it's something, yeah, you need to do your due diligence for sure on those sorts of things. I like the cake and the accounting. I like cake. Yeah. So again, in terms of wrapping up today's discussion, it is like the thinnest layer of cyber that we've talked about today, just to get this conversation started. And we can go down many different rabbit holes of particular things that you want to know about. We can get specialists in to talk about those things with you. We're very comfortable saying things that we don't know. That's just part of business advisory. But I need you to let us know what you want to learn more about too. So we know that social media and security in that space is something you guys want to learn more about. Is there anything else that's coming to mind now that we can note down? Or even if you think about it a little bit later, get in touch with these guys from Wine Country and they can feed that information back through to us. Yep. We can definitely send through basic checklists. Has anyone heard of something called the Essential 8? It's a framework for cybersecurity that a lot of business owners are being pointed in the direction of. I want to do my accreditation in the Essential 8. They're coming to Newcastle to do training soon. I'm really curious about that. But when you're talking about a checklist, this is pages and pages of self-auditing in a language that is not common to us, general folk. So it's quite a cumbersome thing to go through. But these sorts of new frameworks out there are going to be great for businesses to give themselves that little bit of a leg up, that little bit of a point of difference. If you're dealing with customers who are very sensitive about their data, down the line, there are going to be some interesting accreditation models that you'll be able to be a part of in auditing for your business. More like, like the checklist on steroids. Yep. So keep in mind that those things are available now, but also there's going to be more of those placed in front of you as small business owners. So after today, we'll definitely send through a bunch of checklists and things to look for and all that sort of information. And if anyone has any other thoughts or questions or things they want to learn more about in a deep way, not in this just surface way, let us know. We'll be able to support. And again, if there's something that we're not sure of, we'll get cyber.gov to be here in person. So it's all good. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Well, as part of the services with you guys have available to you is a state-based program that we offer called Business Connect. This is one-to-one business advisory. This could be on social media marketing. This could be on innovation. It could be on launching a new product or service. It could be on where's this money going out of my business? Where's that bleeding money going? So our services are available. We have a team that work from basically Central Coast up to Taree, from Newcastle, out as far as Merriwa, I think.
Merriwa, yep.
Yep. And our team offers business advice one-on-one and in group settings as well. They offer workshops and events as well, so keep your eyes out for that. Now, the program that I specifically work under is called Digital Solutions. It's a federally funded program that we've rolled out in this whole region up as far as the northern New South Wales border and further out west, Armidale and out that way too. And that's all around what digital solutions could you look at implementing into your business that will create efficiencies or a better customer experience. Interestingly, a lot of people come to us and talk about digital marketing straight off the bat. There's so much more to digital tools than just digital marketing. And it's a beautiful thing when you can put efficiencies into a business and get some of that imaginary time back. So that's another program that we offer as well. You guys are all subscribed to that under being here today. None of these services are of cost directly to you. We are funded to deliver them to you. All of our business advisors have owned and operated their own business. Most of us still have our own business in a different field. And they're all qualified, accredited business advisors. Yep. Any other questions? I feel like you've been cybered. I'm sorry. It's not a bad topic. It's just, yeah, we'll send out some checklists. We'll send through some simple things that you can do to mitigate the risk. And then we can have a look at your businesses in more depth, one-on-one, because every single one of your businesses would have very different needs. Yep. And we can work with you to find that right key supplier or key provider that you need to have in your area. Got quite a big network. Yeah. Okay. And very one that's just prevalent in the way that we live today. And if you're someone like me, I have a tendency of wanting to find weaknesses and problems in business. I mean, that's just what I do for a job. But I want to find ways to mitigate or secure those risks. And in this field, it's an ever-evolving beast. Like it could really keep you up at night if you let it. So you've got to take the approach of, okay, what can I do in simple ways to protect me, my family, and my business? And a lot of personal decisions about what tools and systems you use need to come into that. That's a whole different rabbit hole, that one. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy.